All right, what's up, everyone? This is Ryan here, and I guess everyone wants to know what happened to BTC, what happened to SDC or Shadow Cash. I think overall, we have seen a very huge correction, and of course, a massive bloodbath for anyone who participated in Shadow Cash. The cheapest, or at least there were four privacy coins that were mentioned, right? So you have Dash, you have Monero, you have Shadow Cash, and you have I think you have a nav coin, right? So you have basically, four coins out there that were, going towards the privacy, who fall under the privacy coin segment. And I think privacy coins are going to be a very, very hot topic because, especially in the next, 1 year to 2 years, easily, because I think nowadays people are looking at, oh, okay, if I'm using Bitcoin and I'm transferring value to some other address, that address can actually be kind of tracked. And I think at some point, if you have a really good hacker or programmer who can actually create I would say a kind of decrypting software. Okay, I'm not a technical guy, okay, but let's just talk about layman terms. If you can have a guy who could program it in a way to read all these addresses actually lead to someone else. So that's the receiver, right? So, or you can even say the sender. So if you keep using the same address, you see, everyone likes to use the same address over and over again, unless you have a good habit of every time generating, or your wallet generates a new crypto address every time that you want to send and receive. Then you're going to be pretty safe because they can't really trace or know your pattern, or who is sending to whom, or whom are you receiving from. So all this is due to the fact that you want your privacy. Because if you check the blockchain, and of course naturally we should all know how Silk Road got busted, is because the FBI, they know how to track. So whether they tracked it via IP, whether they did something and then the IP got leaked out, or maybe because the transactions were to this particular address so often that they were able to trace that particular address. So I didn't really read about that, but that's how Silk Road got busted, right? Okay, so that being said, what happened to Shadow? Okay, so Shadow apparently, right, got a huge massive sell down because they are actually gonna be using the Shadow coins, and they were working on the Umbra project, right? So the Umbra project is like Shadow Chat, Shadow Marketplace, and of course you holding Shadow Cash, and they focus on ring signatures. So I guess when the announcement came, it became to the fact that they're going to be rebranding. Okay, if you watched Rhino is basically the lead developer for the Shadow project, and what happened was, okay, so whoever wants to participate in Particl, okay, Particl is the rebranding of the whole Shadow project, honestly speaking, because the main guys from Shadow will be moving over to Particl. Now, I take this as a positive. Okay, now what happened? Why Shadow got sold off? Hear me out. Okay, I think a lot of people are pissed. I personally bought into Shadow at 0.29. So it's literally, you see, 50% of the market cap gone. It was at 33 million. Now it's at like 13 million. Okay, so I can show you. It dropped to 24, right? So it was from 33 million at the height, right? The last I checked. Now it's at 16 million. So as you can see, it's not a very mature coin, definitely, for sure, compared to Dash and Monero. Dash and Monero, of course, they have still maintained their value to somewhat based on the dollar. Okay, you see, Dash is still at 96. It was going crazy at one point yesterday, where it dropped, I think, until $80 or something like that. There was a very huge correction, and Monero seems a little bit more stable. You know, it's like 20-ish. You know, it doesn't really move that erratically because these are more mature privacy coins compared to Shadow. Now, Shadow, on the other hand, is of course definitely not as mature. It's only 13 million, very easily manipulated, and that's what happened. You see, if you can lose 50% of your value, everyone who came in here, okay, you're fine. And if you had taken profit anywhere from 0.3, 0.4, 0.00 or 500,000 satoshis, 400,000 satoshis, and after that, of course, at 300,000 satoshis, you're fine, right? If you came in around the $2 plus level, now literally everything is gone. And what's the rationale? You're gonna have people who are holding Shadow to be able to convert, okay, into Particl. So in a way, it may say, fuck you screwed us, right? It's like, it's not gonna be like SDC is gonna be still continue to run. You actually get to convert your SDC into Particl. Now, my opinion, okay, it's not like, this is not an ETC ETH kind of thing. No way, man. Because the people from Shadow are actually part-timers. You know, they're like not full all-in entrepreneurs working on the Particl project, working on the Shadow project to begin with. It was like in 2014, if you watch the video, they're like part-timers. And being an entrepreneur, you want full-time, right? You want the developers to have the backing from investors coming in, or at least you pump in your own money. So apparently the pitch now is that Particl is having that. So this is what I'm reading. Okay, so you can just see, this is basically here. You can go to www.prweb.com and you can read about it. And if you watch Rhino's YouTube video previously, Rhino did mention that, you know, it started out as a hobby, and when I listened to him, you know, this guy is from South Africa. He's showing his face. You know, majority of this team is pseudo. They're all pseudos, right? No one knows who they are. So I guess it kind of like gels with the whole privacy thing, right? The whole privacy coin thing. But of course, naturally, if you want to have investor money, you have to rebrand yourself. And I take this as a positive, because I understand how a corporation thinks, because corporations want to monetize, and they cannot monetize something that's called Shadow, right? It doesn't appear very appealing to the public. It's very cool for people like us. I'm cool with it. That's why I bought into it. But now, for the fact that, you know, you can't participate in something that's named Shadow, right? So they rebranded it as Particl, and they have a full-time team, and that's what's good about it, and that's what I see. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean very well for SDC. Okay, so that being said, that's what happened. Now, for a little bit on, now back to Bitcoin, of course. Now Bitcoin, you know, it's 1,200. You know, it was literally. Let's pull the chart back. Let's pull the chart back a little bit more. Okay, so we have, of course, Bitcoin from 900, the 800, 900, 700, 800, 900 region. Let's pull further back. Let's pull further back. Okay, let's pull further back. Okay, so you have, of course, Bitcoin. Okay, let's see. End of the year, right? Okay, let's talk about end of the year. Okay, so let's say December. Okay, literally January. You have January. You have January to Feb. You know, it was like literally this nice consolidation here around almost close to a month, and then after that the rise came, right, because of the anticipation of the Winklevoss ETF. Now that's already, you know, old news, and of course, if you've been following on your CoinDesk, and you've been following on your Blockfolio apps and all that, you'll notice that there was a very heavy correction yesterday, or at least 2 to 3 days ago. And let's pull in the charts again. Okay, let's go last 4 days. Okay, so you have, you know, a huge sell down, right, from where it was at 1267 of the high, and to where it is now, right now. And $200 is a lot. Around 120 bucks is a lot. But considering the size of where Bitcoin is right now, I think it still has a long way to go in terms of stability, but it's getting more and more stable, as you can see. Of course, naturally, there was Coinbase and IRS wanting to file for, they wanted to get data from Coinbase, right? So of course Coinbase is defending their database, which they should, because it is the right for people to purchase purchase Bitcoin. And see, that's the thing about privacy, and why is it so important, and why are we doing this? Why are we buying cryptocurrencies? Because we have the right, as people, don't we have the right to what we want to buy, whom we want to sell? But of course, naturally, IRS are looking for people who are, in fact, it's always that problem, right? The rich are trying to hide from their paper trail, right? Because they're making so much money, they want to hide it in Bitcoin. And to some extent, right, I think that, I correct me if I'm wrong, I don't find anything wrong with that, because yes, you to a certain extent you want to pay taxes, right? You have to pay taxes, but you don't want to pay like that much to the government, because maybe the government, what has the government actually helped you as an entrepreneur? I mean, yes, they may, who knows, there may be good benefits as an entrepreneur, but at the end of the day, maybe these entrepreneurs who or business type people feel that, how have you helped me? How have you helped me that I should actually avoid that I want to pay taxes to you? Because what have you done for me? You didn't really contribute. In fact, you're just wanting to take from me because I'm making more. So that's one aspect, right? And of course, from another aspect, honestly, look, when IRS comes in, it's always big fish. Okay, they're not going to go for the little guys. Okay, there's no time. Okay, so you don't have to really worry. But from an individual, as a layman, an average guy, privacy is important, because if I want to buy something, or if I want to look at some stuff, for example, information, like recently, of course, WikiLeaks mentioned that the CIA has so-called some tools that can track anything and everything, any kind of device that you're on. So when does it stop, right? It doesn't, because we are all on a centralized network. The internet that we're using, the internet that we're using already allows so much accessibility to anyone who wants to monitor your movements. So that's why privacy coins are pretty big, and like Monero Dash, Shadow, now rebranded to Particl tokens, NAV coin. I'm still very new to the privacy space, but I really understand it, and I really see the value in it. And to me, you can't. Okay, now back to the fact that, as I wanted to say, you can't completely discredit Shadow. Okay, they had to rebrand. Unfortunately, I wish they had to do it in another way. But I think obviously from behind the scenes, we don't really know what actually happened that caused them to have to integrate instead of run concurrently. To me, I just feel that there's not enough real hard full-time developers on Shadow to really make it run concurrently. So I guess Particl has financial backing. Rhino probably closed the deal with some VCs or something like that. This is my thoughts. This is just my thoughts from reading how it looks. Okay, so you have enterprise money coming in. Okay, real financial backing, because I don't see the community coming together and BTC flowing in, right? You don't see that. And after what just happened, I'm not sure whether the community will want to come together, unless the Shadow project has all the while been pitching, right? They've been pitching, building a community, and people see, oh, okay, I know where you're going. I'm going to contribute BTC. That's how it's going to be if you're talking about a consensus-driven project, right? Because everyone understands where this direction is going. So, you see, after I realized, I realized a few things when I do investing, right? I look at not just the development team, Are they full-time? Okay, these are little things that I take note of. Are they full-time? Okay, what are they trying to create? Okay, cool. That's the technology side, the features. Okay, and how all in are the developers are very important, because if they personally are like, half part-time, having fun, being like a hobbyist, then you have to really hold back, because they are not doing the work to market the business, right? They are not going out there pitching to VCs like, hey, I've got this really great idea that we should, this great project that's already in the work. So in a way, Shadow Project or Umbra they had to really squeeze it out for the past 2 years, and this is where it came, okay? It came to this point on the 17th. So this merger kind of like messed up the investors. So I think people got burned. People thought that it was going to be a moonshot, and in the end it didn't come. And yeah, it kind of like, oh shit, it's an integration, and Shadow will no longer remain. So I think it kind of, I need to read about Dash, because Dash was Dark Coin before it became Dash, right? And same thing, it was rebranded so that it would shine in the public eye. So I guess Particl wants to move in that direction, or the previous Shadow project wants to move in that direction as well, because so this is a good thing. It's a very sad thing that you see 50% gone, but I see that buying opportunity now, but I wait for it to be Particl tokens first on the market, or at least if you have SDC now, you can convert SDC into Particl, as you can see from the website here. You can actually just put it in. So guys, if you still believe in the project, and if you still believe that you want to have a private market with private chat and everything like that, I mean, it looks like an eBay, Amazon, open bazaar kind of thing. So, it's decentralized and it has a private chat. I think that's good, right? Because you want to have no one monitoring what are you talking about. Yes, I'm a father, and I don't buy into like pedophiles and pornography and all that. I mean, and child pornography and all that. So, and of course drugs and all that is something that I think is very big in America. It's not big in Singapore, that's for sure, but it's big in America. So it's a hobby, and I think it's legal there. But naturally, when it becomes like like huge sums moving around, this is the part where it becomes questionable, right? But of course, I understand the importance of privacy. Okay, I'm still big on it, and whatever people want to do is up to them. Okay, whether they use this platform for good or for bad, it really doesn't matter. And I think it all boils down to we as the users, or we as the community, what do we want this platform to become, right? And when I watched the YouTube video for the Shadow project, you know, it's all about voting as well. Like, for example, if there are shady sellers, and of course, or shitty buyers who don't fulfill their order, there's the escrow to protect the whole situation, right? So there will be this game theory kind of thing that protects the buyer and the seller. So go and read it. I think it's still there. It's in the Shadow project. You can read it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So if the buyer decides to scam the seller, right? And the seller on the other end can vote, or can put in their option or their choice that the buyer didn't fulfill. And end of the day, I think the seller loses his insurance, so which is a small fee, but he still gets paid 2 times the amount for the product. So any buyer will have to put 2 times the amount of money for that particular product. So if it's a product, it's $1, he has to put in $2. So in the event that anything goes wrong on the buyer side, the seller will of course lose a small fee, say maybe 20 cents. Okay, that's the insurance fee because he already delivered the product, right? And then the buyer will lose 2 times, so to cover whatever that the seller had already put in for logistics, for example, having to ship the goods, so on and so forth. So 2 times, right? So this is kind of good. And now what if the buyer or the seller decides to scam the buyer? So the buyer will also have an insurance fee, okay? And I think the seller will lose reputation points or something like that. I need to go and read up on it again, but I know that in theory it's actually quite good. So it's a pretty good arrangement. It's nothing new, okay? All these arrangements are kind of in place in other e-commerce platform, but this is decentralized and this is private. So that's the gist I'm trying to get. So yeah, I mean, that being said, I mean, I hope that it doesn't discourage people from seeking privacy or investing into the privacy space. But the most important thing is that you have to go and do a lot of deep reading into these kind of things, and not just, you go to Poloniex and then you pick which one is the top volume. I mean, you see, when you go in and then you click, let's say you want to click like top volume, see, you like, whoa, and then you get caught up. You thought that, oh, don't forget, guys, you should have been in before the 60% happened. You should have been in before the 49% happened, and not when it's 49%, you go and chase after it. That means you didn't really pay attention to what was happening. You see, like Golem, I don't know what's happening in Golem, but they're up 35%. And I mean, I heard some news, but I don't even really know, so I stayed out. So this is how, I'm just teaching you guys how you're supposed to go and look at stuff, and not just randomly pick one. Like, you wake up and then you go to Poloniex and you want to do a quick trade, and then you want to have life-changing money, you have to do real hard work here, okay? You're not going to make like a few dollars, because you're only going to put in $100-200. So it's not really life-changing money. Yes, you could probably hit a lucky 10%, 20% up if there's still momentum to the charts, right? But overall, that's not how you're going to play the game when it comes to cryptocurrency trading. You want to have real fundamental statistics here before you make your bet. Okay, so with that being said, I hope this video on privacy coins and where privacy coins are headed, why Shadow was completely sold down, it shed some light. So go and check out Particl if you guys are still not too pissed off and want to still participate. I would go in. Okay, for me per se, once Particl tokens are out and on the market, I will participate. And I think this I'll put in a little bit of money for sure. I won't share how much, but I will let you know that I'll be in. And because this is the first so-called consumer friendly, apart from Dash, this is another coin, and Dash is too expensive, right? I wanna 10x my money, right? So I think for the fact that Shadow rebranded Particl, I'm definitely in. So with that being said, guys, I just want to finish off the video. The baby's wanting some milk. So yeah. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video and comment. Feel free to put whatever comments you like, and when I can, I'll definitely get back to you guys. Okay. See ya until the next video.